faithfully conveying value and interpreting the world's best books. Hi, this is Sally with the Book Talk. Today, I'll be breaking down the book Why We Sleep. Throughout our lives, we spend about one-third of our time asleep. Sleep is a natural instinct for everyone, but in modern society, with endless work, non-stop entertainment, and all kinds of social events, too many things keep us from getting a good night's sleep. For some, high-quality natural sleep has become an unattainable goal. Many people even think sleeping less isn't a big deal. But the truth is, our body's normal functions like memory and creativity for work and learning all depend on good sleep. Lack of sleep messes with our mental and physical state when awake, causing a range of serious problems. The author, Matthew Walker, is a top sleep researcher. He earned his PhD in neurophysiology from Newcastle University in the UK. Or, he's now a professor of neuroscience and psychology at UC Berkeley. He founded the Center for Human Sleep Science, focusing on how sleep affects health. Walker has published over 100 scientific papers, with funding from groups like the NSF and NIH. Well, he said, he's also served as a sleep consultant for the NBA, the Premier League, and Pixar. In this book, he draws on extensive research to analyze how sleep works, its functions, the dangers of sleep loss, and ways to improve it. This book is like an encyclopedia on sleep. After its 2017 release, it topped the bestseller lists of the New York Times and the Sunday Times and made the annual book lists of The Observer, Financial Times, and The Guardian. It's sold over 1 million copies worldwide. Bill Gates called it an important and fascinating book. I've learned a lot from Walker about this essential activity we all need. Next, I'll cover the book's key points in 3 parts. First, why do we sleep? Second, what's the purpose of dreaming? Third, what factors get in the way of sleep? Let's start with the first part. Why do we sleep? Besides relieving fatigue, sleep helps with all aspects of daily life. The book mainly discusses 3 benefits of sleep. The first benefit is enhancing brain memory. When awake, the brain constantly takes in new info.
For example, the name of a new friend you met today, or various news you saw online.
This new info enters the brain and is first stored in a part called the hippocampus. It's the brain's short-term memory storage with limited capacity. Once too much info is stored, it interferes and is easily forgotten. So, how does the hippocampus with limited capacity keep remembering new info? RRI scans show that when recalling newly learned info, people retrieve it from the hippocampus. But after sleep, the same memory comes from the neocortex at the brain's top. By observing changes in brain waves, the author discovered that during sleep, regular electrical pulses cycle between the hippocampus and neocortex. He believes that in sleep, short-term memories from the hippocampus transfer to the neocortex for long-term storage. At the same time, short-term memories in the hippocampus get cleared out, so we can take in new info after waking up. Experiments have confirmed sleep's impact on memory. The author gathered healthy young people and randomly split them into 2 groups. At noon, both groups did intense learning, needing to remember 100 faces and names. Tests showed both groups had similar memory performance. Afterwards, one group slept for 90 minutes, while the other stayed awake. Later in the afternoon, both groups joined a new round of memory learning. Remember, another 100 faces and names. The author found that nappers remembered more new content than non-sleepers. And that, in the second memory test, the sleep group outperformed by 20%. This is exactly the advantage of clearing short-term memories from the hippocampus. Meanwhile, the process of transferring memories from the hippocampus to the neocortex, this process also consolidates existing memories. As long-term storage, the neocortex forgets less than the hippocampus. Multiple studies show that after learning new things, sleeping helps remember 20 to 40% more than not sleeping. The second benefit of sleep is stabilizing emotions. Many people have experienced how lack of sleep makes you feel awful. To explore the relationship between emotions and sleep, the author experimented with 2 groups of young people. Before the experiment, one group stayed awake all night, while the other slept normally. The next day, the authors showed both groups identical sets of pictures. The pictures included neutral elements like baskets and wood chips, as well as negative ones like poisonous snakes and fires. Brain scans revealed significant differences in amygdala reactions between the groups. The amygdala is key for generating negative emotions, like fear and anger, and triggers the body's fight response. It also triggers the body's fight or flight response. As for the sleep-deprived participants, when shown negative images, their amygdala's emotional response was over 60% stronger. In contrast, participants who slept showed much weaker amygdala reactions within normal, controllable ranges. More detailed MRI scans uncovered the sleep-emotion connection. After sleep, the prefrontal cortex forms strong connections with the amygdala. The prefrontal cortex handles logic and rational decisions, suppressing the amygdala to regulate emotions. Without sleep, this connection disappears. The brain becomes like a car with only an accelerator and no brakes, racing out of control. Sleep deprivation makes people prone to anger and fear, but also to excitement and agitation. Sleep-deprived participants had unstable emotions, swinging between negative and positive extremes rapidly. This happens because sleep loss impairs prefrontal regulation of the striatum, whose activity causes excitement, leading to reckless risk-taking behavior in pursuit of rewards. In medicine, sleep disorders are recognized markers linked to addiction. Sleep-deprived people are more susceptible to drug and alcohol addiction, and sleep loss affects relapse rates for many diseases. The author further notes connections between sleep and mental illness, as disorders like depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia often involve sleep problems. Previously, psychiatry believed mental illness caused sleep disorders, but the author argues it's bidirectional. Sleep issues can also trigger mental illness. Healthy people deprived of sleep show brain patterns like psychiatric patients, while better sleep aids patient recovery. Dr. Allison Harvey at UC Berkeley improves sleep timing quality, reducing symptoms in depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder patients. Sleeps. The third benefit is maintaining physical health. Sleep deprivation damages major physiological systems, causing various diseases. Here we'll cover 4 health problems from sleep loss. First is cardiovascular disease. A Japanese study of 4,000 plus male workers found those sleeping less than 6 hours over 14 years had 4 to 5 times higher cardiac arrest risk than those sleeping more than 6 hours. Another study shows adults greater than 45 sleeping less than 6 hours nightly have 2 times higher lifetime risk of heart attack or stroke than 7 to 8 hour sleepers. Sleep loss harms cardiovascular health via the sympathetic nervous system. When facing stress or threats, this system activates, increasing heart rate and focus to handle crises. Sympathetic responses usually last minutes or hours. Adequate sleep calms the sympathetic nervous system. But in chronic sleep loss, sympathetic overdrive can persist for years, straining the cardiovascular system. Sympathetic activation also releases cortisol, constricting blood vessels. Combined with increased heart rate, this elevates blood pressure. Long-term high blood pressure causes heart failure, ischemic heart disease, stroke, and more. Sleep also releases growth hormone to repair blood vessels. Without it, vessels weaken, leading to blockages, atherosclerosis, and reduced heart blood flow, coronary heart disease. Researchers at the University of Chicago tracked 500 middle-aged people and found that those sleeping only 5 to 6 hours a night were 2 to 3 times more likely to develop coronary atherosclerosis within 5 years than those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. The second health problem caused by sleep deprivation is diabetes. Diabetes means chronically high blood glucose levels, which can lead to diseases like kidney failure, blindness, and atherosclerosis. In healthy people after meals, insulin stimulates body cells to open surface channels and absorb glucose from the blood. And if cells stop responding to insulin, glucose builds up in the blood, causing diabetes, and sleep deprivation can significantly reduce cells' response to insulin. In one study, healthy participants were restricted to only 4 hours of sleep per night.
After 6 days, tests showed their glucose absorption efficiency dropped by 40% compared to normal.
If you showed their blood sugar readings to a doctor, they'd be diagnosed with diabetes immediately. Researchers took tissue samples and found cells had low insulin sensitivity, refusing to open channels and absorb glucose. Additionally, research found sleep deprivation also reduces insulin secretion. Under the combined effect of these factors, blood sugar levels keep rising.
Long-term sleep deprivation is recognized by the medical community as a major acquired cause of rising diabetes cases.
The third health problem caused by sleep deprivation is obesity. There are two appetite-controlling hormones, leptin and ghrelin. When leptin levels rise, our appetite decreases. When ghrelin levels rise, we feel hungry. Dr. Eve Van Cotter at the University of Chicago monitored sleep's effect and found that with 8 or more hours of sleep, hormone secretion stays normal.
But if someone sleeps only 4 to 5 hours a night, their leptin levels drop, ghrelin levels rise, making them easily hungry and prone to overeating.
In Van Cotter's experiment, the same person sleeping only 4.5 hours consumed 300 more calories daily than when sleeping 8.5 hours. Even when full and not hungry, sleep-deprived people still eat more snacks. In one experiment, Van Cotter provided unlimited meals plus 4 hours of snack time for participants. Results showed people consumed 330 more calories in snacks when sleep-deprived than when well-rested. Follow-up research found sleep deprivation increases endocannabinoid levels in the body. This hormone stimulates appetite, making snacks harder to resist. Even when not hungry, they keep eating. Obesity from sleep loss isn't just about eating more. It's also about food choices. Van Cotter noted sleep-deprived people choose high-carb, sugary foods like chocolate, ice cream, and donuts over fruits and vegetables. The reason is similar to the emotional loss of control mentioned earlier. Sleep deprivation deactivates the prefrontal cortex responsible for rational decisions. So the brain makes impulsive decisions, prioritizing more satisfying foods. These foods contribute to obesity, and sleep loss hinders weight loss. In one study, researchers divided obese participants into groups. One got only 5.5 hours of sleep daily. The other got 8.5 hours. Both followed low-calorie diets for 2 weeks and lost weight, but the type differed completely. The sleep-deprived group lost over 70% of weight from muscle, not fat. The well-rested group lost over 50% from fat, while preserving muscle, so even losing weight without enough sleep doesn't achieve a toned body, just lighter but still unhealthy. The fourth health issue from sleep loss is weakened immunity. Adequate sleep lets the immune system fight germs optimally. And
Dr. Eric Prather at UCSF tracked 150 healthy adults' sleep for a week, then sprayed controlled cold virus doses into their noses.
then, Prather collected their blood, saliva, and nasal fluid samples. By analyzing these samples, Prather found a clear linear link between cold infection rates and sleep time. The less you sleep the previous week, the more likely you are to catch a cold. All of that, and one,
For those sleeping just 5 hours a night, infection rates hit nearly 50%.
whereas folks sleeping 7 or more hours have only an 18% infection rate. Besides colds, lack of sleep also weakens the immune system's fight against cancer.
There's an immune cell called natural killer cells that spot and destroy cancer cells in the body.
Dr. Michael Irwin at UCLA showed through experiments that sleeping only 4 hours instead of 8 wipes out 70% of natural killer cells. And this happens in just one night. Just imagine how poor cancer resistance would be for someone chronically short on sleep. Also, Dr. David Gozal at the University of Chicago found in mouse studies that sleep loss cuts down M1 macrophages, which help kill cancer cells. At the same time, sleep deprivation boosts another type called M2 macrophages, which fuel cancer growth. Lots of epidemiological research backs the sleep cancer connection. A big European study with 25,000 people showed that averaging under 6 hours of sleep raises cancer risk by 40% compared to over 7 hours. Okay, based on these findings, the World Health Organization has formally labeled night shift work as a possible cancer cause. Okay, let's wrap up part 1. Sleep brings benefits to every part of daily life. It boosts our memory and keeps emotions steady. Sleep deprivation harms health, causing issues like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and cancer. That covers why we need to sleep. Next, in part 2, we'll talk about a common sleep phenomenon, dreaming. Some see it as just a sleep byproduct with no real meaning. But the author believes dreaming is super helpful for the brain. What functions do dreams have? First, let's look at the difference between dreaming and not dreaming during sleep. So, human sleep has 2 stages. One is non-REM sleep, mainly before 3 a.m., when eyes are still and brainwaves calm down. Another stage is called REM sleep, mainly happening after 3 a.m. In this stage, people's eyes move rapidly back and forth under their eyelids, and most dreams occur during this phase. At this time, the prefrontal cortex responsible for thinking is suppressed, while areas handling vision, movement, emotion, and memory become highly active, especially emotion-related regions. Activity levels are 30% higher than when awake, and it's this brain activity that creates dreams. And dreams also impact these brain regions. The author mainly introduces 3 functions of dreams. The first is healing painful emotions. When we dream, the brain stops secreting a substance called norepinephrine, which triggers stress and anxiety. Now, people often revisit memories with strong emotions during dreams. And at this time, the brain is in a relaxed, stress-free state. So the author proposes a hypothesis. Through dreaming, we remember valuable memories while eliminating associated painful emotions, letting us view them peacefully without reliving pain each time. To test this, the author recruited volunteers, randomly split into 2 groups. Each watched images that evoke negative emotions. One group watched in the morning, stayed awake, and rewatched the same images in the evening. The other group watched at night, slept, and rewatched the next morning. Using MRI scans to monitor brain activity, the author found that non-sleepers' emotional responses barely changed when viewing images twice. But those who slept showed significantly reduced amygdala activity when seeing the images again. As mentioned earlier, the amygdala is key to generating negative emotions, which led to a clear reduction in their painful feelings. The author carefully recorded these people's sleep states.
He found that specific brainwave patterns during dreaming determine if emotional healing occurs after waking.
The author also noted that sleep's adjustment of the prefrontal cortex helps suppress negative emotions, and dream healing is closely tied to dream content. Dr. Rosalind Cartwright from Rush University in Chicago collected dream experiences of people after emotional trauma and tracked their emotional changes. Dr. Cartwright noted that only patients who clearly dreamed about the traumatic event could gradually overcome despair and return to normal life. Dr. Cartwright, those who dreamed but not about the trauma struggled to shake off emotional issues and had higher depression risks. The second function of dreams is enhancing facial expression recognition. Expressions convey emotional states and intentions. Expressions convey emotional states and intentions. Accurately recognizing facial expressions is an essential daily life skill. Brain regions for vision and emotion handle expression recognition, and dreaming calibrates these areas. In one experiment, the author first had participants sleep. After waking, they viewed multiple photos of a person with different expressions, each showing subtle emotional variations. Starting from friendly, smiling expressions, gradually shifting to aggressive expressions with fierce eyes. Combining sleep data and MRI scans, the author found better REM sleep quality correlated with better brain performance in reading emotional signals when awake. They recognized expressions more accurately, easily distinguishing from friendly to hostile. Even slightly hostile expressions were quickly identified. Next, The author deprived participants of sleep, including crucial REM sleep, then had them view another person's expression photos. Their recognition accuracy skewed significantly. Even gentle faces seemed threatening and scary. To the author, a brain without dream calibration is like viewing images through frosted glass, unable to discern content. The third function of dreaming is boosting creativity. Many creative breakthroughs in history linked to dreams. Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev constantly sought patterns among elements. One night he dreamed all elements arranged orderly in a table. After waking, Mendeleev created the periodic table. German neuroscientist Otto Louis dreamed of a clever experiment on a frog's heart. Inspired by this dream experiment, he revealed how nerve cells communicate chemically, winning the Nobel Prize in medicine. The author believes that in dreams, existing knowledge breaks free from logical constraints, combining in open, divergent, imaginative ways. This lets us discover deeper connections and gain creative problem-solving abilities. To explore dreaming cognition, the author designed an experiment. Participants' sleep was monitored with instruments. Each night, participants were awakened 4 times, twice during non-REM sleep, twice during REM sleep. After waking, they solved 5-letter anagrams where letters were scrambled. After solving one, a new puzzle appeared. Each test lasted 90 seconds before returning to sleep. Upon waking, brain activity remained in sleep-like state. As the brain gradually awakened, participants essentially solved puzzles while half asleep. When woken from non-REM sleep, participants showed low creativity, solving few puzzles. But when awakened from REM sleep, their puzzle-solving ability improved dramatically.
Compared to non-REM awakenings or daytime performance, they solved 15 to 35% more puzzles.
Their problem-solving approach also changed significantly. One participant reported answers popping up without effort after REM sleep, bypassing logical thinking. The author attributes this to the open creativity from dreaming, enabling faster solutions. All right, let's summarize part 2. During dreams, brain regions for vision, movement, emotion, and memory become highly active. Dreaming heals emotional pain, enhances facial recognition, and boosts creative problem-solving. Since sleep is so vital, how can we ensure enough of it? In part 3, we'll explore what factors hinder sleep. The National Sleep Foundation recommends 7 to 9 hours of nightly sleep for adults. But a 2013 survey showed over 65% of American adults didn't meet this on any night of the week. So, the most common sleep disruptors are late nights and early rises from work or entertainment. Besides these, the author highlights other external sleep obstacles. We'll cover 3 main ones. First is artificial light. After sunset, the brain releases melatonin. This hormone signals nightfall to brain and body, prompting calming and sleep preparation. Following natural melatonin rhythms, humans typically fall asleep between 8 to 10 p.m., but modern life surrounds us with artificial light even at night. Light from lamps, overhead lights, phones, and tablets suppresses melatonin, delaying sleep. For better sleep, limit electronic devices before bedtime. The second external factor is room temperature. Our body cools at night. This happens through cooler environments and the body's active heat release at night. Sufficient cooling triggers melatonin release, signaling sleep readiness. But modern climate-controlled rooms with pajamas and blankets hinder this. This prevents proper temperature drop and melatonin release. Sleep lighter, dressed with thin blankets to maintain slight coolness. A pre-bed hot bath also helps. It dilates blood vessels for faster heat release. The third external factor is alcohol. Many mistakenly believe alcohol aids sleep. Alcohol acts like a sedative, numbing the brain. After drinking, people don't fall asleep. They pass out. Crucial benefits come from REM sleep, which alcohol suppresses. Drunk people rarely dream. If you lack REM sleep long-term, your brain builds up a lot of stress. Some heavy drinkers start daydreaming and hallucinating while awake. That's because the brain craves dream sleep so badly, it tries to dream during the day.
Plus, drunk sleep is fragmented. People wake up repeatedly, and fall back asleep, which doesn't relieve fatigue, just leaves you with headaches and exhaustion the next day.
Besides external factors, psychological issues also cause sleep problems. The most common is insomnia due to emotional distress, worry, or anxiety. These negative emotions make the brain feel threatened, activating the sympathetic nervous system, speeding up metabolism, heightening alertness, raising body temp, etc. Result? Lying in bed for hours unable to sleep, or waking up easily after dozing off. If this lasts over 3 months, doctors may diagnose it as chronic insomnia. To tackle this, many turn to sleeping pills, but the author doesn't recommend them, because pills, like alcohol, just sedate the brain into a stupor, missing out on natural sleep's benefits. Sleeping pills have nasty side effects: next-day drowsiness, forgetfulness, and slower reactions. They're also addictive. The more you take, the less they work. So people end up taking more, creating a vicious cycle that pushes natural sleep further away.
Dr. Daniel Kripke at UC also found sleeping pill users die more easily.
Kripke tracked 10,000 plus pill users. Within just 2.5 years, their death risk was 4.6 times higher than average.
Now, over 15 global studies show higher mortality among pill users. How pills cause death needs more research. Kripke suggests 2 common reasons. First, pill-induced sleep doesn't boost immunity like natural sleep. And since over half of pill users are elderly, weakened immunity makes them prone to fatal infections. The second reason is sleeping pills make people drowsy and slow reacting during the day. This also increases the risk of car accidents. Compared to pills, the author recommends non-drug cognitive behavioral therapy, changing habits to achieve high-quality natural sleep. The author shares 12 healthy sleep tips, including keeping consistent bedtimes, taking pre-sleep baths, and quitting smoking or alcohol. These tips are in the transcript below the audio. Interested listeners can check them out. All right, to summarize part 3, light, room temperature, alcohol, and emotional issues all disrupt natural sleep. To improve sleep, the author suggests changing habits rather than relying on sleeping pills. So why do we sleep? This book has covered it thoroughly. The author emphasizes that daytime health and happiness are deeply tied to sufficient nighttime sleep. In our busy modern world, sleep deprivation has become a global crisis. Many sacrifice sleep for work or study, thinking it's expendable. But this neglect reduces their productivity and worsens mental or physical health. And we must value sleep as much as exercise and nutrition. Beyond individual change, the author urges societal reforms. Governments should promote sleep education, while companies adopt flexible schedules. Teens have different sleep rhythms. They naturally stay up later and wake earlier than adults. Schools can delay start times to let teens sleep adequately. So why do we sleep? That concludes our interpretation of this book. Reading notes are below the audio. See you next time.